is right. You are listening to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. And yes, I am your host, Todd Huff, venturing into hour number two of the program. And it's always good to be here on YouTube, hour number two. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this YouTube. Thanks for joining us here. Subscribe to the channel, by the way, and help us to reach more folks with the conservative, not bitter message, which is really what we're talking about today. We're talking specifically, I'm going to have to repeat myself, I think, a little bit from what we talked about last hour because, when we continue something into the next hour, I want to make sure that we, don't necessarily just start with where we were before. I want to start with at a point where if you didn't hear last hour, though you should listen. Now you should go check out hour number one as well. But if you can't listen and you're listening here and you want to get the whole story, that's what we're going to do. So I want to say that I am a Hoosier born and raised. I am was raised in a small town in Monrovia, Indiana. That's home to me. I was raised in a middle-class family. My dad was he's retired now, but he's worked in the union. My mom stayed at home with my brother and I when we were little. As we got older, she had some jobs that she did. But when we were little, she stayed home with us. And, we took vacations. We had some money, but we were by no means like the wealthiest people. We were middle class family. We were raised, I think, with conservative values, but conservative. My dad was a Union Democrat, so conservative Democrat values. We were taught right from wrong. We were taught good and bad. We were taught things like hard work. And I had some experiences growing up where I was, again, in a small town. When it's time you get old enough to have a job, you do things like bale and stack hay. I worked at a deli. I've worked with folks doing some construction work like vinyl siding and shingling, tearing off roofs, driven a tractor, worked on a farm, just different things like that, picked sweet corn. And so in a lot of ways, this is a lot of people can relate to this. This is average in small town America, flyover country, right? And so that was my background. That's who I was, and that's who I am, and some of the things that I experienced as a younger kid. As I got older and went to college, I went to Butler University in Indianapolis, and I also spent a semester in a program, just a semester-long program at American University, kind of a pre-law program. And it was there that I first had to defend my common sense conservative, constitutionally conservative beliefs. And there were many instances where it was me versus the class in debates. And I loved it, by the way. I loved doing that. And it made me really understand why I thought these things. It flushed that out. And, I was dealing with some, East Coast liberals, folks that had never seen a conservative before. In fact, I remember one of the girls asked me upon our meeting one another in D.C., she said, "Are you from Alabama or Tennessee?" And I said, "My, oh my, dear, have you ever heard someone from Alabama or Tennessee? Because I may have a draw, but not to that degree." So this is what kind of my background was. And so, but it was important to me that I communicate these ideas as I went through and defended them in college. And I was a school board member upon graduating from college, a young school board member. And I understood some of these things were just important to me, to be able to communicate ideas that affected the way that we live, as I like to say, this side of heaven on planet Earth, in this great nation of America. And so I had some experiences, being able to do that, and to the point to where I had enough experience in communicating about these things that I now have this program, this syndicated talk radio program, but it's also heard on YouTube or Facebook or other platforms as well. It's a podcast. And so, my job is to help people understand, I think, to hear and understand the truth of America and the foundational principles. And so that's what I try to do each and every day. And I'm fortunate enough to have this platform, and I appreciate you listening. But it's not just enough to share the ideas. We have to be able to do something with it. And as I think about the main reason that I do this, I go back to, back when Obama was president, and I was, looking at how far this nation has come, how far this nation had gone, to the left. And you're looking at, things like Obamacare, the role of government, the bureaucratic state, taxes, and all of these things. I remember, I have 3 little kids now, and I think, our job is to make sure that we pass along to this next generation the torch of liberty and freedom. And you can see in a lot of ways that torch of liberty flickering. It's under assault, and you don't have to look far to see this. It's all over the place. People making demands for free everything. And as I've said before, that culturally, people want us to believe that collectively we're all responsible for everything that everyone else does, but no one is responsible for himself or herself. And you create in that mindset, it's a cancerous way of thinking. And so it kind of beats out of our brains and our way of thinking the fundamental truths about personal responsibility and really our roles in our own lives. And this is being pushed by, sometimes unintentionally, but sometimes very intentionally, by folks. And so anyway, I think it's important that we persuade people so that this great experiment of America can continue to grow, move forward, and not just that, but to survive and thrive. So that's why we do this. And so what I thought I would do is pick up kind of where we left off last hour. And I say, in order to persuade, we have to be, this is going to be a blow your socks off kind of statement here, but you got to be persuasive, right? And so we have to find ways to communicate with those who disagree with us, who don't hold the same ideas that we hold. And what we need to do is find a way to communicate with them, where they are, what they're, from their starting point. We can't immediately jump into some, super 300 level course on some constitutional principle when some folks don't even know what a conservative is. They've been lied to about who we are. They're told that we're racist and sexist and bigoted and xenophobic and selfish people that want to keep people down and all these sorts of things. And that's, of course, not true. There's bad conservatives, there's bad any group of people, there's bad individuals, but collectively we don't think that. We want people to all experience freedom and to live the life that they were created to live. And so we have to persuade people. If we want to see our ideas succeed and we want to see this nation embrace these fundamental roots of her founding, we're going to have to find a way to persuade people, not just scream louder, not just have the best one-liners, although that's fine, the best memes, okay, whatever. But the way we're going to have to do this is persuade. And so I want to stop and say that I think there's 3 categories or 3 steps to persuading people. Number 1, I think you have to be the right type of person. I think we have to, and I'll go through all these as we go through this program. Be the right kind of person, know the right information, present that information in the right way. That's what I think we have to do. And it starts with the kind of soft skills of being the right kind of person. And so I'll give some examples of this, and I did this last hour too, but I think first and foremost, we have to focus on persuasion, not simply being right. And you may say, Todd, in order to persuade people, I have to believe that what I'm trying to persuade them to believe or think is right. And I would say, yes, that's true. But the focus, to me, between which of those 2 things I focus on, do I want to be right? Do I want to look at this as a victory? Do I get a trophy at the end of this? Do I get to pound my chest and say, I won? Or am I looking at this through their lens, through their perspective, and say, I'm able to persuade them so that they're able to accept the truth about constitutional conservatism and the way that we were created to live on this side of heaven. And to me, it's the difference between lightning and the lightning bug. You may have heard that before, but two words and phrases that are very close to one another, but yet they mean dramatically different things. I can catch and grab a lightning bug, right? My kids do this all. We call them lightning bugs here. You may call them fireflies where you are. Sorry to tell you that you're wrong, but we call them lightning bugs here. And so you can catch a lightning bug, you can put it in a jar and look at it and then of course release it. Of course we release them. But lightning, you can't put lightning in a bottle. You can't catch lightning. You can't touch lightning. In fact, if lightning touches you, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble because lightning can kill. And so I think that even though they may be close to saying the same thing, we need to focus on persuasion and not simply being right, winning the argument. Besides, how many times do we really think that we persuade someone by saying, I'm right, you're wrong, you stupid idiot, right? I mean, that's just not, people don't want to be persuaded. There's a barrier that's then erected between them and accepting what probably in their mind is a clear path, but if we present it in the wrong way, if we behave the wrong way, we don't approach it correctly, then we create additional barriers, which is silly to do. In addition to that, I think we've got to be empathetic. We have to try to understand. We have to truly care about the person. I would even say love them in a wholesome way. Love our fellow man, even if they don't agree with us. And what this does, it creates this kind of a synergy. It creates a bond. And it's the quickest way to get someone to see the truth about conservatism, about conservatives, is to demonstrate to them that you aren't, right? That you aren't how we've been portrayed to be in the media. And so if they see that, that's a powerful thing. And if they connect with someone personally, that's a powerful thing. And these things allow us to do that, listening to them, being empathetic to them, loving them, not judging them. There'll come a time for that. But I think we have to set this first and foremost. And this might sound, I don't know, boring or too soft to some people. But just from a logical perspective, look, I've been in sales and marketing a good portion of my professional career. You just don't walk into a place if you have a product and say, buy this. This is the best thing ever. And if you don't, you're a stupid idiot, right? I mean, that's just not the way that it works. There's a process. You build rapport, you build trust. You get to know the person. You uncover what their pain point is or what problems they're facing. You then try to uncover that further by asking questions, letting them explain it. You don't judge. You don't say, idiot, you shouldn't have done X, Y, and Z. How is that helpful? If your product is what they need, don't insult them along the way, right? And so I think we need more of that. We need to be the right type of people. But there's two other things as well, and I'll get to those things after the break. That is, know the right information, present that information in the right way. So we'll talk about these things the rest of the program. Sit tight, be back in just a minute.
Looking to make a conservative, not bitter fashion statement? Check out our apparel online, including brand new items at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
If you own a rental property, you know the hassles of marketing, renting, collecting, and the handling of maintenance and repairs. One call to Zuluscape can put an end to your property management headaches. Zuluscape has over 20 years of experience helping landlords throughout central Indiana in taking the stress out of owning a rental. From A to Z, let Zuluscape handle it all so you can enjoy owning a rental instead of hating being a landlord. Give us a call at 317-663-8485 or visit our website at zuluscape.com.
Ever wondered what shooting a real machine gun feels like? At Indie Trading Post, you can have an awesome and safe shooting experience in our family-friendly environment. Firing a weapon on full auto is something you will always remember. Schedule some range time today and let Indie Trading Post give you the real machine gun shooting experience. We guarantee you'll have a blast. Give us a call at 317-782-4867 or schedule your range time at fullautoindy.com.
Radon is an invisible, odorless gas that kills more people than drunk driving. driving. In fact, radon is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. Is radon threatening the health of your family? Call Radon Environmental at 317-843-0804. Radon Environmental specializes in radon testing and mitigation. The process is quick, easy, and worth it. Radon Environmental wants to make sure your family's health is not at risk. Call 317-843-0804.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freege, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freege, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegeAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freege, owner and lead auctioneer at Freege & Freege Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Trace Adkins with special guests Big Country and Jake Dodds, presented by Ray Skillman Hoosier Ford. Friday, July 31st at the Morgan County Fairgrounds in Martinsville, Indiana. Get your tickets now at toddhuffshow.com/trace. Seating is open, so bring your own lawn chairs and blankets. And with social distancing guidelines in place, there's still plenty of room to feel safe and comfortable. Trace Adkins with special guests Big Country and Jake Dodds, presented by Ray Skillman Hoosier Ford. July 31st at the Morgan County Fairgrounds. Get your tickets now at toddhuffshow.com/trace.
Outside of the federal government, no one likes losing money. Any amount of money, not just the $6 billion the State Department lost. And what makes losing money worse is knowing that we could have done something to stop it. Well, if you have an inefficient furnace, a toilet that won't stop running, or a leaky faucet, you can do something about it. You can call the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. Call 317-831-5279 or visit economyheatingandair.com.
The printing industry has changed a lot since we opened for business in 1931, but what our clients expect from us really hasn't changed. Quality print, fast turnaround, and competitive prices. We've learned a lot at Moeller Printing over 86 years and 3 generations. Why not put that experience to work for you? Call 317-353-2224 and mention discount code RADIO to receive 10% off your first order. Call Moeller Printing at 317-353-2224.
All right, welcome back. So we are going through here and looking at ways we can be more effective conservatives, more persuasive conservatives. And in order to win this political battle, we've got to persuade, right? In order to be, this is crazy talk, right? In order to persuade people to believe in constitutional conservatism, we have to be persuasive. And so we talked first and foremost about being the right kind of person. Now we have to know the right type of information. And I think I don't think that this part is as important for people. It's important, but I think everyone puts all the emphasis on this. In fact, it's routine. I feel like it's fairly routine for someone to say to me, I don't know enough to talk about X. And I can relate to that, and I agree with that. But let me pause and let me say something that I hope will free you a little bit as a conservative. Because conservatism is limited government. Conservatism believes in the invisible hand, right? So conservatism believes that a bunch of people and businesses and individuals, families, whatever, acting in their interest will, everyone moving in their own, for their own personal interest, self-interest, has a unifying effect. We all end up pushing in the same general direction, even though our personal interests may vary, those interests all involve the cooperation with others. And so when we're cooperating with others, I mean, if you think about negotiations as a series of ways to cooperate with people to move in the right direction, you can see how the invisible hand pushes people gently, influences them in the right direction. And so the thing about conservatism is that if you're living your life in your particular, area of influence, whether that's as a person individually or your family or your business, whatever your sphere or church, whatever roles you have where you have influence and you're making decisions or you're entering into contracts and agreements with people. If you think, I'm only responsible for what's in my circle, right? That's what I'm responsible for. And that's one of the problems I have with these, with what Black Lives Matter folks are telling us now, is that all white folks are racist and that we're all collectively responsible for the individual decisions of someone else. And that's just, I don't accept that. I just don't. If you want to show me something systemically wrong with America, for example, I cited this on the program last week. If someone wants to say to me, hey, Todd, this the sentencing differences between crack cocaine and powder cocaine, if that's the correct way to say that, that's racially, motivated or whatever, because crack cocaine sentences are higher, and we know that more Black Americans use crack cocaine and more white Americans use powder cocaine. At least this is the argument. I'm not saying that I know enough specifically to tell you, but the point is that is, if you show me something individually, then I can say, okay, but that needs to change. But you can't simply get me to go along with the notion that there's some systemic problems without giving me some sort of specific examples. So, but that being said, I do think that conservatism should free us because it's not conservatism that says government knows everything. It's liberalism. It's other forms of big government that says the government is, in control of everything. It's a top-down approach. You shouldn't have to be an expert in healthcare as a conservative. You should just protect the rights of people who, venture into that particular segment of the economy, or that, they want to serve in that particular area, and let them figure it out. Fight for their freedoms, fight for their ability to promote and to introduce their ideas to the market, and then let the market decide what works best, whether it's a certain treatment, a certain drug, a certain business model for how people pay for healthcare. Don't say conservatism doesn't require that you know everything about everything. It just requires that you understand the key principles, which is what I'm talking about here, knowing the right information. Don't get suckered into talking about the details of micromanaging a circumstance, because that's not what conservatism is. Conservatism says government's not involved. I don't know better than the people that do this for a living, and neither does anyone else. We should let them do what they need to do. We should let them have a battle in the free market, and let the consumer decide which one makes the most sense. And enough people making enough decisions that are in their best interest in the world of healthcare will move us in the direction the people will vote with their dollars and their feet. And so I think it's important that we know the right information, which are the conservative principles, not the details of every particular industry, right? And that's what liberalism demands, that they know these things, because they are a top-down government, one-size-fits-all solution, and you do it their way or the highway. That's not conservatism. And so we need to know the right information. The right information, again, is more fundamental principles of liberty, principles of free speech, principles of, say, the Second Amendment, the right to protect myself against another person or an oppressive government, the right to worship as I choose or not to worship, the right to petition the government peaceably for redress of grievances, to peaceably assemble. They can protest, but protesting isn't a riot, right? We talked about that before. Knowing when the protest you've attended has become a riot, it's self-explanatory, although people act as though it's impossible to tell the difference. We've been through this. I have a little bit that I do. In fact, it's the only thing I would call a bit is when your peaceful protest becomes a riot, right? And we talked about you see flames in the street, you see people dancing on cop cars, you see bricks or other objects flying through the air, you see fights in the street, you see statues. I'm looking at Fox right now. Statues come tumbling down. You're no longer at a peaceful protest, folks. And so we need to understand the principles, not the specific. You don't have to know the specifics. So hear me say that. Let me free you from that. Let me free you from that burden. I always love it when people tell me, science, the studies, people have done research, and research shows this, that, or the other. Of course, you can have research that proves anything. Research is often, unfortunately, a kind of a predetermined outcome. You have the people that pay for research, and lo and behold, the research complements what they want you to believe to begin with. Research can be manipulated, folks. I don't need research. I don't need research to tell me that freedom is good. I understand. And see, we need more of this. People that just talk about common sense and just embracing and understanding foundational truth. We need more people to understand that we're created to live a certain way. I'm not saying under a certain, to be a certain political party. I'm saying there's a best way to live on this planet, and the freer that we can be, the better. We're not created to live under the oppression and heavy hand of someone else, some government. We're not created to have our lives micromanaged and to have the dreams and aspirations that have been placed in our heart by, I would say, our Creator. We should be able to pursue those. We don't need a government official to sign off on that, right? We need to be able to embrace and hold hold firm to these truths and principles. And so when I say know the right information, what I really mean is don't feel like you have to know the details of everything about every aspect of the market, every foreign policy decision. You need to know the principles, the truths, the foundational components of conservatism, of what it means to be American, of what our founders embraced. And that's what you need to focus on. Not whether some study conducted in 1998 by some group in New York City can be extrapolated and applied to our, gun laws in 2020 or some such thing, right? I mean, that's not what this fight's about. That's getting in the weeds. Stay on principle, stay on foundational issues, know the truth, know the big issues, know the right information. So we've covered being the right kind of person when we're trying to persuade. We've covered knowing the right information. The next thing is presenting it the right way. So we'll talk about that when we get back. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I am your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Like what you hear on Todd's show? Why not get more by signing up for Todd's free Semi-Sweet Morsels of Truth newsletter? To subscribe, visit toddhuffshow.com/subscribe or text HUFF to 31996.
Healthcare is expensive and complicated. Did you know that as a Christian business owner, it is possible to provide access to affordable health benefits for your employees? Remodel Health has helped employers across the United States save over $22 million in the past 3 years. Our innovative approach allows your employees to have the health benefits they need at a cost you can afford. Go to remodelhealth.com/Todd to help your employees find the healthcare they deserve. Remodel Health. Rethink employee health benefits.
Are you an electrician, plumber, or handyman looking for an 8-to-5 job that pays you what you're worth? Copper Ridge Home Services wants you. Our veteran-owned family business offers holiday pay, weekends off, and on-site training for entry-level positions. Our team is growing, so if you have a can-do attitude, we want you to be part of that growth. Ready for a change? Give Copper Ridge a call at 317-839-6100. That's 317-839-6100. Copper Ridge Home Services. We value your time.
We all know having health insurance doesn't always equal health care. That's why at Freedom HealthWorks, we believe the key to maintaining good health is based on a straightforward, personal relationship with your physician. With our direct doctor-patient relationship model, we remove your healthcare middleman and replace him with transparent pricing and incentive to call your doctor at the first sign of illness. So if you're ready to experience real care from a doctor that really cares about you, go to freedomhealthworks.com and learn more about the benefits of our direct primary care model. Freedom HealthWorks. Be treated better.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200 down, $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freegee, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freegee, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegeeAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freegee, owner and lead auctioneer at Freegee Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Hey folks, this is Trace Atkins, and we're doing a concert July 31st at the Morgan County Fairgrounds in Martinsville, Indiana. You can get tickets now at toddhuffshow.com/Trace.
Our word can't be diluted because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
Welcome back. This program is a little bit different, although we touch on these things, and we'll touch on these more as we continue to grow and to build out our program here. But we're talking today about how to be a more effective communicator and persuader for conservatism. And so we've talked about how we can be the right type of person, how we can know the right type of information, which is what we talked about last segment. But the last part, I kind of think, is the most important part, and it goes kind of hand. The first part I mentioned, being the right type of person, and the last part, presenting things the right way, I think are the two most important components of this. I think knowing the right information, I think people put too much emphasis on that. Again, not that knowledge isn't important. It's just I think we chase the wrong types of knowledge, and we play we play the game that from the perspective of how liberals look at knowledge, which involves experts and research and all this. And I say just embrace the basic fundamental principles, because we're really talking about liberty, freedom, free speech, free religion, freedom of the press, the ability to live our own lives in accordance with our own personal conscience, not whether or not some study done by NYU is better than some study or worse than a study conducted by the University of Michigan or whatever. Like that's just not the way. Our founders didn't do that, folks. Our founders identified and built key principles. They didn't build them. They just acknowledged them, but they discovered them and they put them into our system of government. And so that's what we need to see more of, knowing the right information. The last part is presenting it the right way. And again, I mentioned before that I was a salesperson and I've been in marketing for some time. So some of these things I had been trained specifically to do. And I think whenever it's that, first of all, in sales, you're taught you can make a presentation or you can try to close the sale, if you will, too early, right? There's a process. It's like dating in a sense, right? You don't go out with a girl on one date. I suppose someone may do this, but you sit down for the first time and, you're having your first dinner and she's telling you, tell me a little bit about yourself. And she gives you a little bit about your background. You say, will you marry me? Right? That just doesn't jibe. That's not the way that this works. We have to create a bond. We have to get to know each other and all this sort of stuff. And then you decide if it's even what you want to do, right? And so there's a process that we have to go through. It's not just, hi, I'm Todd, I'm a conservative. Boom. We have to earn the right to be able to speak. In fact, this reminds me of a story I had with someone that worked with our program. She and I are still friends. And she told me one time, she said, Todd, I could never support a conservative Republican, but I could support you. And that's not accurate. She could support other conservative Republicans. It's just that she and I got to know each other. She got to know me, and it took time. And she understood that I wasn't what she was comparing. When she's comparing me to other conservatives, she's comparing me to other ideas of what the conservatives are that's been created and manufactured by the media and the Democrat Party and the radical left. And so anyway, she told me that, and the reason we got there was because I waited. I remember she told me she was a liberal Democrat, and the first few times we would meet, she would want to engage. She'd want to argue and fight about politics. I didn't even say anything. I just let her say what she wanted, smile, nod my head, listen. Might be in my head thinking, this is nuts. And eventually she started to want to know what I thought. And so approaching it, presenting conservatism the right way involves, I think it includes kind of how you're trained to be for salespeople. You listen. You try to understand the person. You ask questions. You build that rapport. You connect with them. You see them as a person. It's an extension of the first part of this, which is being the right kind of person. Now we're putting that into action. Now we're not just starting from that position and trying to build that relationship. Now we're, at the point of having that relationship and using the opportunity we've been afforded to present the message of conservatism in the right way. What about being likable and remaining their friend even if they disagree with you? Whoa, it's powerful when we do these things. Sometimes we have to exercise patience. But I think if we ask the right questions, if we listen, if we present conservatism as the ideas, as a series of ideas, if you take away, I think sometimes we all get into this, it's easy to fall into the trap of, Democrat, liberal, conservative, Republican, Trump, Biden, and people have strong emotions about some of these words, some of these people. I think if you can avoid getting into that conversation, if you're truly trying to persuade them towards constitutional conservatism, you don't really need to get into names like that. You don't want to try to convince them that conservatism is a good idea. Use Donald Trump as an example. If they hate Trump, if you say Trump and they start foaming at the mouth, that's not a good example, right? And so you'll know that. You'll have known that because you've listened and asked questions. You can ask them, what do you think about President Trump? And if they say, I hate him, I think he's the most vile, disgusting human being that's ever lived, then you probably think, when I present conservatism, I'm not going to talk about him. If they say, I think he's done some good things, I think he's probably, been misrepresented, but I'm not a big fan, but I can see why people like him, then maybe you can use that as an example, as a reason Maybe you can use them in your closing argument, so to speak, but we know that by listening and asking questions and earning the right to be able to even be heard by the person. Too many times I see people walk into a circumstance and they think, this person should listen to me because I got it all figured out. Just sit down, get your notepad out, and let's get to business. And when I'm done talking to you, you're going to be wowed into conservatism by my great intellect. And I think, no, that's just not how this works. Not how it works. In fact, if you treat people the right way, I will go as far to say that people will want what you have. It's less about your or my intellectual, prowess, and it's more about the principles. They want to see us living those things out. They want to see that what we have is attractive. You attract more flies with honey than vinegar. And this is something that's true and accurate when looking at persuading people to the cause of constitutional conservatism. So there you go. Be the right kind of person, know the right information, present it in the right way. That's what we've talked about. I want to come back and do a couple things to wrap up for today's program. But this is I think that everything that we discuss on a day-to-day basis, it all falls into this. This is where the rubber meets the road, right? This is where we have the opportunity to do something and to actually make a difference, move the needle, persuade, get more people to embrace the truths of constitutional conservatism. So come back and go through a couple more things before we wrap up for the week. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Listen to Todd's show on your way to work, but want to hear more? Don't miss a beat. Visit toddhuffshow.com/listen to catch the program anytime, anywhere.
Geothermal tax credits are back, making this the perfect time to install a new Climate Master geothermal system. Take advantage of this limited time 26% tax credit and begin cutting your heating and cooling bills immediately. Visit indianageothermal.com/info to get your free Climate Master information kit or call 317-829-1490. Visit indianageothermal.com/info or call 317-829-1490. Geothermal, it's cheaper than you think.
I love my community, and I wanted to do more to make a difference with my hard-earned dollars. I wanted to make an impact and help shape our future and our county. So I gave money to the Community Foundation of Morgan County. More than just charitable giving, the money I donate is tracked and measured so every dollar is held accountable. It's a social return on your investment. Why don't you join me in donating at cfmconline.org? That's cfmconline.org. Philanthropy with measurable impact.
Hi, my name is John Swadner, Sales Director of the Todd Huff Show. As a listener of the program, you know the show is growing. 4 years ago, it began as a podcast in a closet. Today, it's a 2-hour show that airs during morning drive in Indy and in Utah, and we're just scratching the surface. Todd brought me on board to help the show and our advertisers grow. That's why I'm specifically looking for partners who are a good fit to advertise with us. Would that be you? To learn more about what advertising would look like and to determine if it's a good fit for your business, shoot me an email to john@toddhuffshow.com. And be sure to ask me about some of our special packages that will save you up to 40%. Email john@toddhuffshow.com. Shoot me an email today.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years' experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356, and ask for Richard or Roger.
Indy Decorative Concrete is hiring immediately. They're looking for workers with experience finishing concrete. Pay is $25 to $30 per hour with weekly overtime. All jobs are located within the city of Indianapolis. Call 317-784-1464 or apply in person at their offices located at 8366 Brookville Road, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46239. They're open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, visit their website, www.indydecorativeconcrete.com. www.indydecorativeconcrete.com.
When life is hard for the women you care about, There is help with issues such as widowhood, anxiety, depression, or abuse. They don't have to go through it alone. Peace Restored is there to walk with women through the journey. Peace Restored helps women through free mentoring, counseling, and education. When life is hard, Peace Restored is there to help women you care about find hope and healing. To learn more, visit peacerestored.net.
Welcome back. So, just a couple of minutes here before we wrap up. But what we've talked about today is really the premise of Conservative Not Bitter University. I think that if we can teach people, help people, give them the tools to be better, persuading people to constitutional conservatism, we'll have good things that will follow. And so if you're interested, we're ramping up to launch Conservative Not Bitter University, specifically this idea, this first class, I should say, the first class, which is how to be a more persuasive conservative. I invite you to get on our list so that we can email you whenever it's time or text you when it's time for this for us to launch this, which is in the not too distant future. Got a few more pieces of the puzzle to put together here internally, and then it's time to begin the process of launching the course. So how do you find this? How do you get information? Well, you just text us. You text the word course, 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 to 888-111. You'll get a text message back asking for your email, so you'll be added to the email list. Even if you just text us, you'll be on the texting list, so you'll get that. You'll be fine to just have the text. But email is, you can get more information. There's a series of, there's some things that we'll email that's obviously, too big for texting or whatever. So email is the best way. So that's what you do. And then you have the opportunity. We've got some interesting things that we're working on with the program. But if this is a point, and this I think this is an important point to make here. Action is what determines where we go from here. Our actions, our individual actions, and I always marvel. I marvel at the Creator God for many reasons. But I marvel at his, deciding, I guess, to make us physical, because he could have just made us spiritual. I mean, we're ultimately spiritual beings. But he could have just made us spiritual and stopped there. But he made us physical and I think that's a brilliant, I love it, because it made us exist not just in the theoretical world. Right? We just couldn't just come up with an idea and say, oh, yeah, it's true. He says, well, what do you want to do about it? Right? What are you going to do about it? If you're a parent, you say, I love my child. You have a young baby that's crying at 2 a.m. You've not slept for 6 months. Been there. Actually, my wife's really been there. Love is when you decide to put your feet on the floor and walk in there and take care of the baby, right? That's love. Love isn't just some concept. Oh, I care about that baby in theory. Oh, what will you do given the choice to lay there comfortably in bed and ignore it, or do something about it? And I think that is that's where we stand. And so it's not enough to simply know the right thing. In fact, I was talking with a group a week or so ago, and I told them, I said, I know the purpose of this program. It's a good thing. All of you are coming up with ways, ideas that you can be better to communicate or, articulate conservatism and make an impact in your particular circle of influence. And I said, but you know what? You have notes written down, and don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to come off like a jerk, but so what? So what? I mean, until you do something with it, those are just notes on a page. Until you do something with it, those are just thoughts that may just float around eternally and never be acted upon. Some of these things could radically transform society, folks, if we act. And so I encourage you to act. Text the word course to 888-111 to get more information about Conservative Not Bitter University and how you can help move the needle. How you can help move the needle in this country from moving towards the radical left to moving back towards the tried and true principles of constitutional conservatism. Sit back or sit tight. Got to wrap up when we get back. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back just a minute.
Is it possible to be a fan of the show if you don't have the gear to prove it? Why not be safe and remove all doubt? Shop for official merchandise at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
Our partner, Global Plasma Solutions, has published ionization testing results that demonstrate a 99.4% reduction rate on a SARS-CoV-2 COVID-19 surface strain within 30 minutes. This is the first instance that an air purification company has effectively neutralized SARS-CoV-2. Commercial Service Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is installing this solution in businesses and homes in South Central Indiana. Get your free information kit at commercialservice.com/info. Commercial Service, commercial grade service for your home.
Anxiety, depression, relationship problems, past trauma. Problems rarely get better when given time. Care to Change Counseling can help. Our professionals combined evidence-based care models with scripture to get you on the path to a productive life. We are here to help you make the changes you need for a healthier, happier you. Take that brave step today. Call Care to Change at 317-790-9396 or visit caretochange.org.
Ever ask yourself, what does my business insurance actually cover? Well, at AIA and Avon, we think you deserve to know. AIA is focused on earning your trust. We've found that when we educate our clients and truly listen to them, they allow us to work alongside them to put together the insurance plan they need. Whether your business is big or small, give AIA a call, 317-718-1747, or find out what we can do for you at AIA4lowrates.com. Advertisement sponsored by Grange Insurance.
Hey Indianapolis, by now you've probably heard about Jody Dowdle with Midwest Tax Group. Jody and his team are experts at helping you prepare your personal or small business tax returns. You can count on Midwest Tax Group to get every deduction possible and work for your higher refund. And not just on this year's taxes, they'll check your prior returns for any tax savings you may have missed for free. Are you behind on filing your returns? They can file past due returns and help negotiate with the IRS too. They complete most tax returns within a week and charge an affordable flat fee, no hourly billing. And as their client, you can consult with the team at Midwest Tax Group year-round at no charge. Midwest Tax Group has 4 office locations in Castleton, Greenwood, Plainfield, and Greenfield, with evening and weekend appointments available. Schedule your appointment today at 317-288-5260. That's 317-288-5260. Or visit their website at mwtaxgroup.com. Midwest Tax Group can help you more than any piece of software ever could.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
The compassion of Christ compels us to stop what we're doing and seek that person out. I think as Jesus went in that famous song I sang as a little kid was Zacchaeus, come down. Zacchaeus was in a tree and he wanted to engage with Jesus, but he just couldn't, and Jesus stopped and he went over to him. If we are going to live a life of compassion, the compassion of Christ, are we willing to stop and seek those who need a touch of compassion today?
All right, folks, that is unfortunately all of the time that we have today. But again, I invite you to join the Conservative Not Bitter University as we gear up to launch this. And it's simple to do. All you have to do, again, is text the word course to 888-111. Preferably, you'll respond with your email so that we can get more information to you by email. But just having the text message will let us communicate with you when it's time to open the doors. So anyway, guys, have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. Take care.
Seems like just yesterday that you couldn't find a